From the front of CBNS Bank inside of Flowers Hall. Benjamin Ray checking in with you here on this Thursday morning. Opening up with North Alabama defensive back Leo Glover, a Florence, Alabama native, wrapping up year number 2, heading into year 3 at North Alabama. Leo, appreciate you joining us,
Sure.
man. I mean, 2 years here at North Alabama, man. How can you describe these first 2 years?
And they've been fun. Just looking forward to the next couple of years to come.
Redshirted year number 1.
Sir.
Take me back to that redshirt year. And what was your introduction to college football moment?
Oh yeah. So freshman year, I mean, I ended up not. They didn't even. I didn't end up dressing the first couple games, and then I had a chance. I was really showing out in practice and special teams, on kickoff and stuff like that. And so Coach Roth called me in his office, and he was like, he was our special teams coordinator at the time, and he was like, "You got a chance." He was like, "You want to play?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." So I played 4 games, and then on all special teams, so punt, kickoff, return, punt return, and so yeah, I played 4 games, and then I decided I was going to redshirt after that, and then actually Noah Gregg took my place and played the last 4 games. But I'd say probably my welcome to freshman. I had I think it was a kickoff return. I don't remember who it was against, but I had some linebacker, probably 240 pounds, had to block him, and yeah, he hit me pretty hard. But
What was it like the first time you stepped out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got some jitters, and I think the
Right.
first question of every game is how physical is this team going to be, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like for you that first time you went out there?
Well, first of all, it was in the stadium that I played in the last 4 years at Florence, in Brawley, and I mean, I just soaked it all in. I was like, because I've dreamed of playing college football my whole life. So I mean, I just sat there and literally just looked around and just took it all in, and it was just like a dream come true.
That is incredible. Playing at Brawley Stadium, so you played at Florence High School, played your entire career there, and then your first 2 years at North Alabama,
That's right.
getting to play inside of Brawley Stadium. How cool was that?
It was pretty awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
Do you have a favorite memory from Brawley?
Uh, High school counting.
I mean, just yeah, any memory.
Yeah, I'd say first round of playoffs my junior year. We ended up not winning that game, but it was a rocking atmosphere, and it was against Hewitt Russell. That was probably my best. That or against when we won beat Abilene Christian at home. Between those two, it's pretty tied, pretty close.
That would have been your freshman year as well here
Yes,
at
sir.
North Alabama. And then playing in the last game, do you have any memories or any moments from that one at Brawley?
I mean, at that point, it was awesome. Like those years, all those years. I mean, I was really grateful to play there. But I think I was starting to look forward to a new stadium, and I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for that. So yeah.
All right, we're going to circle back to the stadium talk here in just a moment. But this past year, I think you started a game at safety,
Yes, sir.
played a lot back there in the defensive backfield. But what was this year like for you transitioning from year 1 to 2?
Uh, I mean, it was difficult. You have to study a lot more, stay in the playbook a little bit more. I think it was just, yeah, that was the main part of just you're taking a big step from not. I mean, just having to lock in a lot more into the playbook and everything like that, and watch a lot more film on the other team. But yeah,
Did you have a favorite moment for yourself this past year?
um,
Big hit,
I'd say,
deflection, anything like that?
yeah, it was one of the kickoffs. I want to say it was against it was a home game. I cannot remember who it was against, but I had a pretty good hit on a kickoff coming off the edge. I clotheslined the guy kind of, so it was pretty, yeah.
Makes me think of Remember the Titans.
Mm.
Some of those clothesline clips from that one. All right, so for you, local guy here,
Yes,
playing
sir.
it at North Alabama, also a transition, high school quarterback to defensive back now. What's that been like, swapping sides?
It's not as been as hard as you think. I think the only thing that was difficult that I'm still having to get better at is just the footwork part of it, aspect of it, because I've never backpedaled. I got to UNA and I've never backpedaled in my life before or broke on a ball or anything like that. But I think it also has its benefits, just the fact that I played quarterback and I know what quarterbacks are thinking. So compared to some people that have never played quarterbacks, when I'm back there, I can kind of remember what I would do in a certain situation, and usually that can help me out in certain ways.
So year 3, where's your comfort level at now?
Oh, it's up there. I'm feeling the most confident I've been, so that's good.
And how'd your spring go?
Spring was really well. Went really well, really really good actually.
Then this off season, what kind of goals have you kind of set in the weight room as
Right.
you head into year 3?
Just maintain my weight, get stronger, get faster, better footwork, and just compete on a higher level.
So being the local kid from Florence, what made you choose North Alabama?
Well, my sister went to school here. She also played beach volleyball here. My mom went to school here, and just wanted to stay home, be close to my parents, be close to my sisters, and yeah,
So did you grow up coming to UNA games?
I did. Yes, sir.
So watching games at Brawley, any favorite teams, any favorite players from watching?
Actually, shout out to Blake Hawkins.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's like he's a big brother to me.
Yep.
He worked with me at quarterback growing up, so I'll probably say Blake. Yeah.
Blake, man, he was going to have a great career
He
here
was,
at
he
North
was.
Alabama. Big fans of Blake Hawkins over here as well. So now playing here at North Alabama, you played at Brawley. We got to talk about that. Now right outside over here to our left, Bank Independence Stadium,
Sir.
Bobby Wallace Field. It's getting to open up here in September. I mean, what's it been like, one, seeing this dream come to life?
I mean, it's been unreal. I mean, I think everybody around here is just absolutely stoked about the new stadium, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to bring in a lot of people. It's our job to live up to that and just keep people wanting to come to the games and everything like that.
Have you thought about what it's going to be like walking through that tunnel for the first time?
It's going to be awesome. I can imagine that first game is going to be pretty packed out crowd, and it's just going to be unreal. It's something I'll never forget my entire life.
We can't wait. It's going to be here before we know it. All right, defensive staff. New defensive coordinator. What's it been like so far with Coach Bowen?
Coach Bowens is legit. I think we all love Coach Bowens. I mean, he brings something to the table that I think none of us have ever seen. He's got energy, he's got juice, and he doesn't play any games, and you got to take him serious.
Now, when he was in college, he won the Tackler of the Year for his team. Does he place a heavy emphasis on tackling? Because I've kind of heard
Yeah.
that is huge with
He's
him.
a big banana guy. That's our technique for tackling. But yeah, I think sometimes he could get out there and play with us because he shows us drills and stuff like that, and it looks like he could still come out there and he'd be all right if he played with us right now. But yeah, he's big on tackling.
You've mentioned studying. You've mentioned the work in the classroom, and I've heard he is phenomenal teacher as well. Have you
Oh, yeah.
experienced that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just on the board with him and stuff like that. He's just very in detail, and it's really easy to catch on to what he's putting out there for you.
All right, couple things, and we're going to wrap up here. But you're the local guy, so guys
Sure.
come on their recruiting visit. They ask you, "Hey, what do you do for fun in Florence? What do you do?"
Yeah, I mean, what I do for fun, I like to play golf. I play golf with my buddies. I like to eat a lot, so I'll probably go eat at Hugo's. That's my favorite restaurant, Hugo's Mexican restaurant, and just hang out with my family and friends.
Well, you're lucky because there's a lot of good golf here and there's a lot of good restaurants here
That's
as
right.
well. All right, Leah, let's wrap it up with this. What can people expect out of the 2026 Lions?
We're gonna be different than we've ever been, and we're gonna win some football games.
Leo, man, we appreciate you joining us. We can't wait to see you flying around. Big
Yes,
hits
sir.
in the fall, maybe some interceptions. And,
Yes, sir.
man, let's break in CBNS Bank. We appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sorry, let's break in Bank Independence Stadium. Sorry, wrong venue right there. That's Leo Glover. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Mike Ezekiel's going to join me. We got tight ends coach Craig Schurig as well.
Thank you.
Well, we spread out a little bit. Mike Ezekiel's in the house with me, and North Alabama tight ends coach Craig Schurig is here as well, his second season. Excited to have both of you with us now here on the Roar Down. And, Coach, you're number 2. How we feeling now that you've had 1 year under your belt here at North Alabama?
Yeah, it's been a really cool ride, to be honest. First year, it was a full circle moment for me. I had coached at Pittsburgh State years ago, and in '95 was a coach in Bradley Stadium as North Alabama won their 3rd straight. So I got to be part of that history on the losing side, obviously. And then playing in that stadium again was really a kind of a full circle moment. So it was really neat experience. And the staffs that we've worked with, Coach Dearman's a great person to work for. And then the transition in college football itself from a time where you had high school guys that came through the system, like North Alabama built their system in Division II, and then in the portal area, you basically transition your team each year. So I've been part of that. So it's been very interesting, fun. You meet a lot of really cool kids, really sharp kids, and obviously the coaching staff's great.
Coach, you kind of alluded to it when you were talking about your time at Pittsburgh State, coaching at the Division II level, obviously a head coach at Washburn for a long time, where you coached athletic director Dr. Josh Looney as a stud linebacker, I believe, in your first recruiting class, and then became the winningest coach there. So obviously your familiarity at the D2 level for all those years. What did you know about North Alabama just kind of from afar?
Yeah, my time at Pitt, obviously, you saw that they were a powerhouse. They were the top team. At first it was like North Dakota State, and then Pitt kind of had a little run, and North Alabama took it over. And then we actually played again. We had a home-and-home series when I was at Pitt with UNA, closer to the 2009-10 zone, I think. But then when I was head coach at Washburn, I wanted to be able to play UNA because I knew it would be in the playoffs. And we made the playoffs a few times, but didn't bump heads with UNA. I think we got knocked out by Northwest Missouri a couple times, but yeah, so I was very conscious of what UNA was doing. Matter of fact, when I was at Pitt, it was interesting. After the lost in the championship game, they did a study of the top teams, and so looked at, obviously North Dakota State, but obviously UNA was what are they doing to be so successful? And so UNA's always been a team in my mind that's what you want to achieve.
So then we were going to talk about Pittsburg State, so let's jump into it a little more. Here we are in the Hall of Honor and the 95 National Championship. I think it's that one right there. I was trying to look and see. I didn't even mean to put you in front of that.
That's pretty cool.
We've gotten perspectives from Cody Gross, Ronald McKinnon, Israel Raybon, all those greats about that championship game. And so we all know what they've said, but give us your perspective from the Pittsburg State side of things.
Well, I tell you, we when coming into that game, I was on the offensive side at that time. And looking at that defense, it was like, wow. And you knew those guys. Pitt had some really good players that went on to the NFL previous to that. And you're going, they've got 4 or 5 NFL draftable guys on that defense. And obviously McKinnon was amazing. And we ran split back veer. I was a tight ends coach. And he could take dive, quarterback, and pitch. And so it was really tough as an offense, and so you were like, man, we need some good things to happen. We had a good defense, but Cody Gross was so good. He would pick you apart, and they ran an option style I formation mostly, but very physical. Both teams were mirror images of being physical, but Cody was so good. Just pressure. He would hit you may get him in 3rd and long, but he was going to make the completion, and always did the right things. And but you felt like after that game, it was hey, they are as good a team as I've seen, and they were probably the best D2 team in the history, to be flat honest. So yeah, it was an honor to play that, and you could say, and that's why afterwards, the leaders at Pitt were like, how do we get to that level? Because that's going to be the level that you have to be to win a national championship. And that was probably the best team in Division II history.
Now, I was 6 years old in the stands at that national championship game.
That a way to age me.
I'm sorry. It ages both of us. I'm sorry. But I was at all 3. That's the one that I remember, though.
Yeah, it was cold, wasn't it?
It was cold.
Yeah.
We had season tickets growing up. But I just remember growing up and not really understanding what it meant for UNA to host that national championship game. Like, oh, wow, UNA's hosting the Division II national championship game. And I think there was like 15,000 people there at that game. What was it like for you guys, Pittsburg State, walking out? Man, this is the national championship game, and we're in UNA's backyard. This is a home game for them.
Yeah, well, the staff had been here before, so Pitt had won it in '91, lost to Jacksonville State in a repeat of that game in '92. So they had been here, so they knew the makings. It was brand new for me. I was in charge of travel. This is kind of an interesting story. So nervous as heck, when you're in charge of travel, you're just putting out fires.
It's the worst job in the world.
Worst job. And we had just we upset Kingsville. Kingsville was loaded. Somehow we beat Kingsville. And so we were like, hey, if we beat Kingsville, we can upset UNA also. So I was in charge of travel. My wife's birthday is December. I'll never forget. My wife's birthday is December 7th. I forgot her birthday.
Oh,
no.
And we're traveling, and the head coach's wife, Helen Broyles, goes, she bumps me. She said, it's Louisa's birthday. And I was like, oh. And so I did a quick, 180. And when we got here, they said, and I had all the meeting rooms and all that stuff, and someone else took that over, and I was able to take Louisa out to dinner, and we had our daughter here, Samantha, who's 30 now, so she was an infant at the time, and so someone watched her, and we had a really nice dinner. But that's one of those husband moments. You're like, I forgot her birthday, but she understood, at that time. But yeah, so it was. That experience of knowing, everything that was around that game and was just special. And even though, you lost the game, it was an honor to be in it. But the atmosphere, I mean, you knew it was historic, right? Because UNA was going for the 3rd straight. No one had done that. And we were part of that history on the opposite side, but it was still a fantastic game to be a part of.
Do you remember where you guys ate?
Her and I try to talk about that all the time, and
Because now you're here.
Yeah, now that I'm here and I'm going, I remember it. We could see the river, and so you were on, but I cannot remember the name of the place because it was someone at the hotel. The Shoals community sponsored did the game, and they were such great hospitable, and so they were like, no, you need to go to this restaurant. So that's where we went, and it was really nice, it was like, well, at least I did forget, but I came back pretty strong.
Totally.
I was gonna say,
It was
wow.
good overtime, maneuver there.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got a ton of stories from this game that we've heard over the years. If we could add two or three
Yes.
more to that now, I mean, that is
Yeah.
just incredible. And something I want to go back to, Coach, back to the field from that game. You talked about the Purple Swarm. You talked about Cody Gross and some of the offensive players. And even on your side of things, a lot of NFL talent. Well, speaking of NFL talent, let's bring it back to present-day
Yes.
UNA. You are the tight ends coach, and Caleb Heatherly just signed.
Yeah.
Or not signed. He's going to rookie
Yes.
minicamp with the Indianapolis Colts. Just talk about Caleb and how exciting that is.
Yeah, last year I coached the quarterbacks, but we worked directly with the tight ends, and Caleb's a phenomenal athlete. And in today's world, he probably doesn't stay at an FCS school, going forward. But he did. He was loyal, and it was just the start of the portal era. But he's a tremendous talent. Obviously, very hardworking guy, strong as can be. And in the NFL, there's so much. There's kind of been a push again to that 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, and he can block. I mean, he can be another offensive lineman in your front. So you have 6 linemen, and he's fast enough to be a receiver. He's not your Travis Kelce type receiver, but all these teams want that extra hat in the run game, and the run game's kind of coming back, right? Defenses have gotten light, and so they want to come downhill on teams now. And so I think he's got a real shot. It's really a small world. So on the Colts staff, there's 2 kids that played for me at Washburn, and one's an assistant special teams coach, Joe Hastings. He played receiver for us. And then the other is a assistant strength coach, Tyrell Brown. He also played receiver. So I gave them a heads up after I had nothing to do with his, being drafted or a free agent. But after the fact, I said, hey, you're going to see a kid from UNA that's really sharp, and you'll like him. Because his, when you get to that level, he'll be evaluated in every phase, but his work ethic, just his competitive desire, his ability to grind out the ups and downs, his ability to learn the offense or special teams or whatever they have him doing, he will have a shot. And then obviously they need the measurables, and he's got the measurables. And you need, at that level, you need a big, strong blocking tight end if you're going to have a run game, and they like to run the ball. So I think he's got a real shot at it. And, God willing, and he stays healthy and all those things, he'll have a shot.
Real quick, trivia question for Ben, because we're so excited for Caleb. But last time a UNA player signed or went to a rookie minicamp with the Colts?
With the Colts?
Yes, with the Colts specifically.
With the Colts specifically, was it Vickers, Lee Vickers?
A little more recent.
A little more recent.
Think like
Chris Johnson, he was the Ravens.
Think Bobby Wallace era.
Which era? Second stint?
Second stint. 2014.
2014. Tavares Wilson, maybe?
He was the Rams. Year after that,
Punter.
close kicker.
Ah.
Well, punter and kicker.
Yeah.
Taylor Pontius.
Yeah,
Wow.
there we go. We'll
Taylor
get there.
Pontius,
We'll get
yeah.
there eventually. We do a lot of trivia games on
That's-
road trips.
So
That's
Caleb
pretty
will be
good.
the third UNA Lion to be
That's pretty cool.
associated with the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah.
You mentioned something, and let's get thick in the weeds with football for just a second. I mean, the return of the tight end, and you
Yeah.
can go back 10, 15 years ago. I remember UNA had an all-conference tight end who had like 8 catches in a season because there were
right.
just no tight ends in football. The tight end had almost gone away.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, defenses have gotten lighter. And I heard another coach many, many years ago in an interview say it won't be long before somebody goes back to a hardcore I formation with a fullback and a tight end. What's it been like seeing tight ends, Caleb Heatherly, as you just mentioned, and just the journey of tight ends from feature point of offenses to disappearing to now coming back?
Yeah, my background at Pitt, we ran 2 tight ends. We were split back veer, so you had 2 running backs. A lot of times it was 22 personnel. So that's what. And then when you went 1 tight end, that was like spreading it out. And so then you started getting into the run and shoot, and obviously the air raid got very famous. And I was in Big 12 country, so Big 12 went from option to air raid. But like you mentioned, I mean, there's always an ebb and flow in football. It's a really interesting game. And so DNs now are long, lean pass rushers. And so they're beating these offensive tackles. It's very tough to pass protect. So what do you have to do? You have to go at them, and that'll slow them down. So, yeah, you're seeing a lot of that. You're seeing really good football teams now go back to 1, 2, and even 3 tight ends in the game, and now defenses have to adjust. And I think the edge right now is the running game with offenses. They have the edge. And then you still have these, high schools have put out so many receivers. Like when you recruit receivers, there's so many. And so you still have the advantage out on the edge. Typically, the receivers are bigger and faster than the corners, right? Because in high school, those kids want to catch the ball rather than defend it. And so you still have that matchup. And so if you can force safeties into those run fits, you have the easy read for the quarterback and the mismatch that you want. But you have to be able to run the ball, and to run the ball, you need the tight end. And so there's a rebirth with the tight end. And tight end's becoming kind of a sexy position because in the NFL, you have all these tight ends, and now they're not an afterthought. They're key, draftable guys. And they used to be, well, we'll take them in the 6th round or whatever. And now you're seeing them, okay, they're a sexy position. They're a key position in offenses now. And the college game, you're seeing that also.
I mean, Brock Bowers, a top 10 pick.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Guys like Trey McBride that are kind of coming along. Yeah, the tight end position's kind of rebirthed, like you said.
It is.
Since it's kind of going that direction now.
Yes.
What about the fullbacks, man? Do you think we could ever get that back?
I know it. So, I was still kind of more old school. So at Washburn, we still had a really good fullback, and some people call him a sniffer back or whatever, and that's coming back too.
Love it.
And it's a little less speed on the field, but you force the defense to commit to stopping the run. But still, teams are looking for, instead of having a true fullback, they're looking for multiple tight ends. So then you can do different things with them, and you can split them out as a receiver. So they're looking for that athletic, almost basketball body tight end. But if you can find that tough, hard-nosed fullback, that's fun.
We had Jacob Cummings, the linebacker, turned fullback Dearman's first year. That was the slogan. Hey, make fullbacks great again. It was a lot
Last
of
of the
fun.
fullbacks.
Last
I
of
think
the
it was a
fullbacks,
Twitter
yeah.
page. Yeah, it was
yeah.
great. That was great coverage.
So let's jump to your time at Washburn, and
Yes.
you got to coach Dr. Josh Looney
Yes.
as a player, and he's very modest when we talk to him about it. Almost like, I was a decent little player. Yeah, we had a good little run. But what was he like as a player?
Yeah, we were very fortunate. So first year you get hired and you're just ready, shoot, aim, type thing. You have a recruiting class, and then he was at Missouri State, and at that stage you didn't get a lot of transfers, but he was transferring from Missouri State, and we were able to get him. And he was a really good high school player in the Kansas City area on the Kansas side in Blue Valley, and so we knew about him from high school, and he brought a maturity and a toughness. We were looking to get tougher. And then you had a little bit more of your fullback and tight ends in the game, so your linebackers were true linebackers. In today's football, he would be your Mike, but he played an outside linebacker for us. And so when he saw run, he'd come. And he was a physical, fiery player. And back then, you had the big shoulder pads and the semi-neck roll or whatever.
So he looked the part.
Oh,
I
yeah, he
love
looked
it.
the part.
Yeah, that's great. That's
And
great.
he's, you can tell Dr. Looney's a stocky guy, and he was strong. And so he was immediate starter, immediate guy that we looked to for toughness. And he started for 4 years, and he really helped us because we went from winning a few games to a few more, and then we won the conference his senior year. And he was a big part of it. But, yeah, he's just like he is as an athletic director. I mean, he's highly competitive and fiery competitive. And he was like that as a player. And he brings that flavor. I would say in most athletic directors have a little bit more of an administrative feel, and he still has that. But he has that competitive fire. And that's what probably makes him a special athletic director.
I think of him on the sidelines at games.
Oh yeah,
fun
he's
to
into it.
watch.
He's into it, and he enjoys. You can tell, like, you'll see him at the basketball games or a volleyball game or whatever, and he's into it as a competitor, not just as watching the athlete. He's involved. He's invested, I guess, and you can tell it's in him, that competitive spirit.
Well, and I'm sure as a student athlete, building a culture in the locker room there has translated here, and obviously he's built a great culture here at North Alabama, and a great leader. I feel like the locker or the linebacker room on that team, if I've heard correctly, it sounds like they did bring the toughness, but kind of kept everything in line, and we're kind of looked to by every other position group for leadership. And do they have a nickname? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. As a head coach, sometimes you're out of that loop.
When it's like the law firm or something.
It was something.
Yeah, that's probably right. That's right.
It was something like that.
Yeah, the law firm. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. They did have that because the names kind of rang that bell. And you know what? Like back then, you could lead with high.
Yeah.
And you coached it. You didn't coach to ever hurt anybody, but you coached. Hey, a receiver comes across the middle. You need to send a message, and you could hit with your upper body against her upper body. And in some cases, it's safer than going low. So they brought that. That type of temperament to the game, and so we felt like receivers were a little afraid to come across the middle.
So you got to coach Dr. Looney. He had a great career. And we had our Players' Choice Awards the other night. That was, Tuesday night. And you got up for a special presentation, and Dr. Looney was named an Athletic Director of the Year by NACDA. Huge honor, well-deserved. I think everything he's done here speaks for that. But you got to recognize him. His daughters came up.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best parts of the night. Everybody gave him a little standing ovation. It was real great. But you told a story about he finished playing, and you got a call from Pat Williams, who's a legendary NBA front office executive, Sixers, Orlando Magic as well. But you're sitting in your office, and your phone rings, and it's Pat Williams asking about one of your former players. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, it was really a cool moment for me. See, I grew up in New Jersey, right near Philadelphia, so I was a huge, at the time, Sixers fan. And matter of fact, the high school I went to, we had off when the Sixers won the championships before y'all were born in 1983. Julius Erving and all those guys. Well, Pat Williams was the GM, and it was a huge deal. The Sixers, had a great run, and in '83 they won the championship. And so when he called, I was like, wow, it was cool for me. It was like a fan, And then he was asking about, Josh Looney at the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, because he was big. Pat Williams was a really unique guy. And he brought a lot of different perspective to how he ran teams. He was very creative. And then he was part of the original group with the Orlando Magic. And so he was doing he was writing a leadership book, and he wanted a group, and he wanted some young, competitive people to be involved in it. And Josh is who he kind of earmarked. And that's how it took off that's how he started in that business. So it was really neat. And he asked a few questions. I can't remember what the questions were, and it was like, but Josh is an easy recommendation because it was like, well, he was basically a 4.0 student. He was a leader in every aspect of the team. I mean, he was a home run as far as given a reference for. So that was pretty cool. And then to see where he took that, and then with the Chiefs, and then got into athletic administration. So last night or the other night was really cool for me too. It was one of those full circle moments, and seeing his family and all that was pretty cool.
And if that was a home run at the time, it's a grand slam here at North Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
And you touched on it just for a second. So last thing I'll ask about that is, how special was it for you, and how unique is it that not only you got to present that award, but you get to be here every day, witness that firsthand, and you're part of a football program that he's the AD of. Yeah,
and it's really neat to transition. So you can see, when I went to, I kind of have a unique history in athletics. Is I was only at two places. I was at Mines for a very short time, and that's where I went to school. But then I was at Pitt State, and they had already established things, but they were always a team that whatever the top people had, they were going to get to. So when other people had better stadium, we built a better stadium. When they needed a new indoor, they got the indoor. You knew that was in their DNA. That was in their culture. It came from the president down. And then at Washburn, we tried to build that. And then coming here was really cool because, I knew Josh had taken over and UNA was making that transition from a D2 to Division I, and that's a tough battle. And it's not just, and it's all sports, right? You can't just single out one sport, but football is unique in a sense. There's so many people. You need so much revenue for an income for you transition from 36 scholarships to, at that time, 63, and then you have to do facilities and your recruiting budget and everything. And it must have been a task that you're just like, wow. But you knew he was going to grind through it. And then, of course, in coming here and you see the transition from Browley Stadium to a state-of-the-art stadium in Bank Independent and the baseball facility. I mean, that complex is simply awesome when you really think about it, right in the middle of campus. And I have a good friend, Tim Beck, who's at Vanderbilt, and so I've been there a couple times, and it's the same setup. I mean, they got their offices, baseball, football facility. This is going to be one of the top facility venues in the country at any level. From a fan perspective, from a town. And this town reminds me a lot of Pittsburgh, Kansas, but it's bigger.
Yeah.
And so it could handle an FCS school and a Division I school for sure. But the way the town and the school are ingrained is a lot like a Pittsburgh State or a Maryville, Missouri, in a sense that it is part of it. And then this campus, when you show people the campus, the school is attached to downtown, which is just awesome. Not many schools can say that. So the fact that I know Dr. Looney, I know how talented he is in everything that the community has embodied to get to this level. It seems like you're on a runway and it's gonna take off. So to be a small part of it, to witness it, is really cool.
It is going to be great when downtown comes to life and you can just
man.
walk from you can go eat at Lost Pizza Shoals and then
Yeah.
walk over here and come to a
I
football
mean, Pine
game.
Street, basically, it's
Yeah.
connected.
It
and
is, yeah, it's a bridge.
It is a cool atmosphere.
You've got such great perspective from Pittsburgh State to Dr. Looney, and there's another, I believe, with Coach Partridge, offensive
Yeah,
coordinator,
yeah,
right? So
that's
I'm sure your relationship with him was probably a little different. Like, man, I got to
It
play
is.
him again. What was
Yeah.
he like as a quarterback
Yeah.
over at
He was really good.
Mo
So
West?
it's funny. His dad, I knew him when he was the coordinator at Missouri West, and I was at Pitt State as a position coach. The coordinators at Pitt State, there's nobody left. It was just like there was no transition of coaches. Jerry Kill left, and that's how I was hired full time there. And then, of course, he went on and did great things. But your staff was your staff, and it stayed that way for a long time. But then you saw the transition of Jerry Partridge as assistant. He was the defense coordinator there to the head coach at Western. So I was an assistant, and we would play Western, and they were a good team, and they struggled beating Pitt at that time, but they did win a couple times, and you're like, man, he's done a heck of a job because Pitt they went for like years without losing a game in the MIAA, and Western beat them. And then I was fortunate to get the job at Washburn, and so that their program, the way he built that was one that I could kind of use as an example. Of course, I had a vision of Pitt. But you had to take steps. And so that was a team. You're like, if we can get to where Western is, then we're in the top third of the conference because they were always in the top third. And so that was a big landmark for us. Hey, when we finally beat them, it was like, hey, we've become a team that can physically handle the conference because they were a physical team. So long story short, our teams were almost mirror images. We didn't run the exact same scheme, but we were built the same way. We were going to have a tough physical defense, and we were going to be able to run the football and be, you hope to be explosive on offense, right? And so when we had great games, and we might have been like, I don't even know what the final record was between us two, but they were always close, and sometimes overtime games, that type of thing. And so I always held their program in high regard. And then Travis himself was really good. So he was a rare guy because he was big. And he had a strong arm, And the coaches, and he was one of the first ones with the coach's son was playing quarterback.
Yes.
So he had a red dot on his head as far as a bullseye. Everyone wanted to get him because you're like, hey, it's the head coach's son. So he handled it really well. And then they built up. I think Travis's junior or senior year, they had one of the best teams in the country, and Travis was a big reason for it. And they were just a really good football team, and so it was fun competing against him. And then we had some conversations as him as an assistant. I think when he got to Tennessee State, they didn't have any tight ends, and the portal was just starting out. So he asked about a tight end or two that we had at Washburn that were getting in the portal, that type of thing. So then that's how I knew what he was doing. And then the other thing that's common is in like 18, 19, 20, 21, my son played quarterback. And so I had the same experience that Jerry and Travis had, Mitchell and myself had. And we were fortunate, too. We did well. So there wasn't that. Because if you don't do well and your son's a quarterback, it's really tough. And it's probably tougher. And Travis, you were always really you had a lot of respect for him because he handled it so well. Because it's harder. The coach, as a head coach, you can handle anything. But for the kid, it's tough because he's getting all the – if you lose, it's like you're just playing because, all that kind of stuff. And so he handled it with great maturity. Travis did. And I always felt like Mitchell handled it really well, too, because it's harder on them than it is the dad who's the coach because you get it from all angles anyway, so you're just used to it. You harden yourself to that. But I always had a great respect for Travis because – he did it in a really good way. He led his team in a really good way, and it was a tough thing. But I remember when Mitchell was quarterbacking for me, I was like, yeah, it's been done before, and it was done well. And so that was kind of a nice experience to have that already in my back pocket with how it worked at Western. And I followed Travis a little bit as he was going along because it was pretty cool. And then last story with that is, I can't remember why, but every once in a while you could go to like we were done playing and KU was playing or so. And so I think I went to the OU Kansas game. It was when Baker Mayfield maybe was there. I think I have the right game. And I'm just sitting in the stands with my kids, and Jerry Partridge is sitting there because Travis was coaching. And
wow.
and Jerry was at Northern Arizona. So we just bumped into each other, and he said Trav was on staff at KU, so I was like, oh, okay. So I would follow his career path a little bit just through little bump ins with his dad. But yeah, so we had that's almost another full circle moment being on staff with him.
The alignment on this staff, and we hear
Yes,
alignment
yeah.
a lot in this athletic department, but the alignment on the football staff and the connections, it's just amazing to me. And just hearing you even tell that story, I mean, just phenomenal. And now Coach Partridge running the offense. He settled in, doing a great job.
Yeah, he does. He does really good.
Final thing for me, just kind of bringing it all back together with the alignment on this staff.
Yes.
You're with Coach Dearman, you're with
Yep.
Coach Partridge, and you're in this offensive room. Just talk about how the spring went and some things you accomplished.
Yeah, being in a transition year where we had so many new players come in in the January semester. It was new for me. It was like, okay, we're going to see how this works. And it amazed me how well the team bonded together. So I think Coach Dearman did a great job of building that culture. And then, Clint Bowen and Travis did a great job of molding the offenses and defenses. And it's different, totally different. The offense is totally different. The defense is totally different. So the older guys had to accommodate themselves, and they did a really good job. And then you can't say enough about the new players and it is the way college football is. They're kind of used to it, so they get to know each other really quickly, and they form a team much faster than you would think. And so we feel like, the spring went really well. We need to have a great summer. You have to have a really good summer with the way college football is now to make up for lost time with them, right? And so we feel like if we can have a good summer, we can be very competitive in the fall. But the way the staff has formed together is really good. I know Coach Bowen, too, from years ago through the different coaching stops that he's had, and then even at high school there in Lawrence. So and to see his son, who, matter of fact, I was trying to recruit him when I was at Washburn. I was like,
Wow.
well, as he's coming up, but he was out of our league because he was already getting big school offers. So all that coming together is really neat. But yeah, I'm real impressed with the team and how they've, a guy like Leo and guys that have played, they embraced the new players and they formed a really good bond. And so the spring went well. And then, like I said, if we can have a great summer, we have a good shot.
We're all looking forward to the slow time that's coming up, right?
Yes.
May, and then things will ramp up for you guys in June, I know. But I cannot wait for football season. It's
Yes.
going to be a lot of fun. Coach, this has been a phenomenal conversation. And for you, it feels like all roads have ultimately led you back here to
Yeah.
Florence, Alabama. We're glad you're here. I always enjoy chatting with you. And last thing for you, just fans for this 2026 football season, and what can
Yeah.
they expect when they see this team for the first time?
The fan base here is pretty amazing because through the years that they support it unbelievable, and obviously with the new stadium, it's going to be very exciting. But I think we have a really good team, and obviously everyone knows about Destin Wade, but there's a lot of new players to come see. We have the first couple games are not here, but that first home game, make it historic, pack it, and you'll see a team that will. I think it's not only just going to play for itself because, obviously all kids do that and coaches and players, you play for your team, but they're going to play for this town. And so the whole Shoals community come out and support this team because I think it can be a special year.
We appreciate it, Coach, and thanks for taking us through that journey.
Hey, I
and-
appreciate
and
it.
reliving the '95 championship game. We love reminiscing about that.
Yeah.
And hey, I know we'll talk to you more. And enjoy some slow time in
Yeah.
May, and then I know it'll ramp up for you guys in June.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
We appreciate Coach Shurg joining us. Thanks to Leo Glover as well, to Braden and Grant and Mike. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm Benjamin Ray. We'll catch you next week with another episode of The Roar Down. We got baseball and softball coming up this weekend. Softball playing for a regular season championship, hopefully. Baseball has 3 more weekends to go, but they're still in first place, so make your plans. You can catch all 3 games on Friday, Mike. That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah, 1 o'clock doubleheader at softball. That hopefully the second game at 3:30 should end, and then you could leave right there, go to Bank Independence Stadium and watch some
Wow.
baseball.
Myself, Braden, and Grant will be at all 3. If you go to all 3, let us know. We'll shout you out on the broadcast. We're looking forward to it. So, hey, we hope to see you around at the parks this weekend. If not, we'll talk to you next week with another episode of The Roar Down. Thanks for tuning in. Roar Lions.